for today's video, we're going to be talking about the One Piece market. Run the disclaimer. Now, a lot of things are happening. The prices are skyrocketing for a lot of sets that should be, and a lot of sets that shouldn't be. I have three cases in front of me here. I have a low tier set, mid tier set, and in my opinion, a high tier set. Let's talk about the low tier set. OP08. A couple months ago, this box was around 110, maybe 120. I think I picked up my cases on average for 80, 85 a box, which was a steal in my opinion. And now today, it's about $160 a booster box. And this is only a couple months later. In my opinion, that is where the box should be. It should be around 140 to 160 a box. Now, I don't know if this is steady growth or it's just skyrocket growth. It looks like skyrocket growth because I expected it to be around this price in, 4 months from now, not a month, not 2 months. So then you have a mid-tier set, which is OP06, Wings of the Captain. I picked up my cases, average was about 125, 130. Now I believe these boxes are going for 240, 250. I think they're at 260 at one point, but now it's starting to just level off. It's not falling off, but it's just leveling off a little bit. Now for OP06, I think something else comes into play. I think time. I think anything from OP07 to OP01 is now going to hold the variation of time, where these are the first, real sets of One Piece. You got OP01. Everyone wants it. It's the first ever booster box. All the way to OP07, I think that's the cutoff. I think those are the boxes that are going to be like, damn, these One Piece boxes are old. They're starting to collect time on them. And I think that's going to help drive up the price. I think OP06 is a $240 box. I think it is a $280 box. I'm okay with this rise. It makes sense to me. Now we go to the high tier set. OP11, pretty much a newer set. I picked up my boxes around the 130 mark on average. I felt really comfortable paying that for my cases. It is currently $220, $230 a box, which I think it should be. I think this is a good price for this box because it's one of the better sets. Now we're seeing just a skyrocket happen with One Piece. We're seeing, is it the Poke Bros coming over and just annihilating the prices and just buying it up and making it skyrocket? Or is this market manipulation? I think it's neither. I think people are starting to realize that you can open up an OP11 box for, now it is, $230. It was for a while $160. And you could open up this box and you could pull a $2,000 card. The second card was like $1,500. The next card was $1,000. Now, of course, the prices are even higher. So there's a lot of risk reward to opening One Piece, especially if you like the art. The art is fantastic on all of One Piece. I've always been a bigger One Piece fan than Pokemon because I love the anime and I love the TCG. I'll always be One Piece over Pokemon, even though I love Pokemon a lot too. So like I said, for these three sets, I think the prices make sense. I think they're good. I think OP11 maybe should be a little lower. Maybe it should be $190 a box, because it's newer. It's not like OP06 where now you're looking at it and you're going, hey, that's an older set. We're starting to get some time on it. There's not a lot of cases out there of it. But OP11, it should always cost a little less than OP06 in my opinion, but it is the better set. And I think what OP06 has on it is time compared to OP11, but I'm sure all of you know that. I'm sure I'm just a big fucking idiot, per usual. Now let's talk about one more box. Now I don't have any cases of this because I'm not fucking Beast McGee. But OP05 is now, it's almost an $800 box. I want to say it's like $780 right now, $775. Now, again, in my opinion, yes, this was a skyrocket out of nowhere. These boxes were sitting at what, $250 to $300 for a while, and all of a sudden they're $775, they're $780, almost $800. This is a $1,000 box in my opinion. And I think it's only gonna climb because you have OP01, which was a solid set. Then you have 2, 3, 4, which was meh. And then you have 5. I'm trying to, for any of the Poke Bros watching this, I'm trying to explain what this set is in Pokemon terms. Perhaps tag team. Maybe it's a tag team box you could compare it to, or an Evolving Skies box you could compare it to. But you know, the time is you know, it varies. But I'm okay with this price on this box. It makes sense. It's one of the best sets One Piece has ever produced. And it's just really iconic with the Gear 5 and everything. Now, let's talk about a set, in my opinion, that should not be this price. And don't get me wrong, it's in my opinion the best set that has been released yet. But it's brand new. I'm talking about OP13. I didn't bring any cases today, but I do have this one just for my collection personal view. OP13. It's $330 a box. I'm happy it's $330 a box. It shouldn't be $330 a box. It's a brand new set. And, you know, yes, it might be the best set. It might have those cool red mangas with Sabo, Ace, and Luffy. And some beautiful SPs, but it is not it should not be $330 a box. And this is what worries me about Bandai. You know, they are releasing now One Piece sets in waves. And in my opinion, what that does is it controls the price of the market. Because if they just kind of flooded it out there, you know, we might see it drop all the way down after pre-release down to $100, you know, $120, which is where it should be. Then that way, everyone can open them up. They can enjoy it. They can pull mangas, SPs. I think that's how it should be with every set. Now, I think Pokemon does it too, but you know what? They can get away with it. They've been doing their TCG for over 20 fucking years. One Piece has only been doing it now for, what, 2? 3? It's just, it worries me that things are going to be too expensive for newcomers to buy. I think when you have booster boxes released, I think they need to be affordable. And at $330 a box, brand new, OP14 isn't even out yet. Brand new. We're looking at $330 and it's only rising. People are hoarding it. You can't, it's hard to find in Walmarts and Targets, blisters, you know, the double pack bundles. I think this was the market manipulation or the Poke Bros ramping the price up and hyping it up. I think this is the hype set that it should not be. I mean, I think it should be under $200 a box. I'm not saying it should be an $80 box like OP08. Certainly not. But it's just way too high for a new set. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this. Whether you're in Pokemon or whether you are in One Piece or both, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You know, sure, you can go ahead and say, oh man, this guy's just an ugly idiot. Fair enough. But I would still like to hear your thoughts on it. So leave a comment. Tell me, you know, what your opinion is on the One Piece market. I'd love to read about it. That's my opinion on these sets. I think they make sense except for OP13. OP10, another set. That set is, I mean, it's like OP10 it's either a big douche or a turd sandwich. It's not a good set. It's equivalent to OP08, and that set is newer than 08, and it's like $170 a box. It should not be $170. That set should be $1 $20 a box. You know, stores should be selling it at $130, which I believe is MSRP. OP12 makes sense. OP12 and OP10 are, in my opinion, practically the same equivalents. And you have OP12 at probably $130 a box, which is understandable. And then you have OP10, which is to the moon, dog, shoot-o, go, which is, it's flying. I think that's a bit of market manipulation. I think that's, people don't see, you know, what a normal One Piece TCG fan sees. I think they see One Piece and then they buy it and ramp up the prices. I think that's what happened with that set as well. But like I said, I would love to hear your comments. This is not investing advice. Run the disclaimer. I think the new set coming out, OP14, I think it's an okay set. It's not crazy good. It's I would say it's mid to low. And that set, I totally would have predicted 2 months ago that it's going to pre-release at $160 and it's going to drop all the way down to possibly $90 to $100 a box. But now I don't see that happening with all the hype around One Piece. Like I said, you can open up a $130 box and you can pull a $1,000 card. That doesn't happen with Pokemon. Only One Piece. And I think people are starting to figure it out. I think there's less market manipulation going on than people think. I think people are just, I don't blame the Pokebros coming over to One Piece. I think they're just now realizing the upside to it. And does that slightly affect the One Piece players and the One Piece fans who've been with it since the beginning? I first started my One Piece TCG love around OP05 when it came out, because I was in Japan and I saw it and it was amazing. And then I didn't even know they had a card game. And then I got into it there. But all these people now are seeing the upside to One Piece. And you can't blame them. One Piece needs more growth. I don't think, we're going to catch Pokemon anytime soon, but I think we're on a really good path. I think One Piece is doing a really good job. I think my cat is going fucking crazy. I think that them running it in waves could be the downfall of One Piece. And that's what I would love for you guys to comment on. I think when you run it in waves, you are holding the market at a certain price. And I think that's bad for the One Piece TCG. Pokemon can get away with it. I mean, they could shove a card in their ass, take it back out, spit on it, and hand it to Big Bertha, who's 32 with pink hair, and she would just love it. I mean, she would send it into PSA to get graded. There's nothing wrong with that. But One Piece is too young to be doing that, I think. I think if they're going to run it in waves, they need to up the print, like OP08. OP08, I believe, was a set that they went and they printed it to the ground, like Crown Zenith. And guess what happened? People opened a lot of it. I had people come up to my booth and buy a lot of OP08. And they enjoyed it. Rayleigh manga is my favorite manga. It's beautiful. The SPs are awesome. And now look at the price of OP08. It's where it should be. It's $150, $160 a box, and it's only going to rise through time, which is how it should be. But they did that and they said, well, okay, well, not again. We need to control the prices of our booster boxes. And now they start running it in waves. And I think that's just going to hold the prices, and that's going to lock a lot of newcomers who want to get into One Piece out. I have a lot of friends who don't watch the anime, who don't read the manga, and they buy One Piece. They love opening it. They think it's awesome. And I think that's good for the TCG. I think that's great. If you don't watch One Piece and you don't read it and you still love the TCG, I think that's awesome. I think that's how it should be. But those people aren't going to be able to afford the boxes when you got new sets coming out and they're $330 a fucking box. OP12, I would not pay over $140 for it. And to be honest, I wouldn't pay over $130 for it. And that's probably going to be the bare minimum. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope my first initial educational guess was right. I hope it does drop to $90 a box, $100 a box. 110 would be a great price. With how the market is now, I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with OP14. Anyways, please leave a comment. Subscribe, like, comment, do the gritty. I appreciate you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.